Reading an abacus involves understanding its structure and how the beads represent numbers. Here's a step-by-step guide. Structure of the abacus. An abacus typically consists of a frame with rods, each holding beads. The most common types are the Chinese abacus swanpin and the Japanese abacus sorobin. Chinese abacus swanpin usually has 2 beads above a central beam and 5 beads below it on each rod. Japanese abacus sorobin typically has 1 bead above the central beam and 4 beads below it on each rod. Bead values: swanpin, each bead above the beam upper beads represents 5. Each bead below the beam lower beads represents 1. Sorobin, the bead above the beam represents 5. Each bead below the beam represents 1. Reading the abacus. 1. Position of beads. Beads moved towards the beam or central bar are considered counted or active. Beads away from the beam are considered not counted or inactive. 2. Column values. Each vertical rod represents a different place value: units, tens, hundreds, etc., increasing from right to left. Example, reading a sorobin Japanese abacus. Imagine an abacus where each rod's beads are positioned as follows. Units rightmost rod, 1 lower bead near the beam. Tens next rod to the left, 3 lower beads near the beam. Hundreds next rod to the left, 1 upper bead and 2 lower beads near the beam. To read this, units rod, 1 bead near the beam equals 1. Tens rod, 3 beads near the beam equals 30. Hundreds rod, 1 upper bead 5 plus 2 lower beads 2 equals 7. 100 equals 700. So, the number represented is 731. Example, reading a swanpin Chinese abacus. Imagine an abacus with the following beads moved towards the beam. Units rightmost rod, 3 lower beads. Tens next rod to the left, 1 upper bead, 2 lower beads. Hundreds next rod to the left, 1 lower bead. To read this, units rod, 3 lower beads equals 3. Tens rod, 1 upper bead 5 plus 2 lower beads equals 7. 10 equals 70. Hundreds rod, 1 lower bead equals 100. So, the number represented is 173. Practice. To become proficient in reading an abacus, practice by setting different numbers and reading them repeatedly. Over time, you'll become more comfortable and faster at interpreting the bead positions. Additional tips: start with simple numbers and gradually move to larger ones. Use both types of abacuses to understand the differences and become versatile. Practice basic arithmetic operations on the abacus to reinforce your understanding. By consistently practicing, you'll develop the ability to read and use the abacus efficiently.